Surfacing on the bridge has been in place for about 20 years. It was last resurfaced as part of the strengthening and widening project between 1999 and 2000. It's at the end of its life. We're starting to see damage on the existing surfacing material, and if we don't resurface it now, that'll start to damage the steel deck underneath the surfacing. The resurfacing process is removing all of the existing asphalt, removing the existing waterproofing material, cleaning the steel deck, and then applying new waterproofing materials and applying the new surfacing material. It's a complicated process, and the process of removing the existing materials and preparing the steel deck are the critical elements of the work. In order to do a good job and to get a good product, we need to make sure that the steel deck is prepared to a good standard. We need to make sure there's no cracks in the steel deck. We need to waterproof the steel deck to protect it from future corrosion. And then we also need to add 2 layers of surfacing material, which will provide a smooth running surface for vehicles to use. On bridges, typically like suspension bridges, like the Tamar Bridge, we use a specialist material. It's a thin surfacing material which isn't used elsewhere on normal road construction. So normal road construction is 300 to 400 millimetres deep. Our surfacing is approximately 45 millimetres deep, so much thinner. So the material has to be a very different material. It's designed specifically to use on our bridge, and it uses some slightly modified materials to give it a stiffer, stronger material composition. We need specialist teams and specialist equipment. There aren't many companies around the world who can lay this sort of material. When we last did some resurfacing on the bridge, which was 2011, we resurfaced the Plymouth side span because that wore out much quicker than the rest of the surfacing. And we had a company from Switzerland who came across with their team and their specialist equipment to lay that material. And that same team are coming back this time to replace the surfacing on the rest of the structure. Unfortunately, the surfacing has to be done this time of year because we've got the best chance of dry, warm weather conditions. In order to do the resurfacing and particularly the waterproofing, we need some dry, mild weather conditions. We can't lay that waterproofing material that well in sort of damp conditions, and that's really important if we're to get a very long life out of the new system. Unfortunately, the work has to be done during the day. Once we take off the materials and we've got a bare steel deck, we can't run traffic on that area until the new material has gone back. The bridge is very close to local houses. We've got some neighbours who live very close to us. It's a noisy operation, and unfortunately, if we carried it out at night, it would cause a lot of disruption to those neighbours. It's also not safe to carry out work at night, and there's other issues, with people working in darkness, with vehicles moving at night, just illuminating the works as well. And you probably wouldn't get such a good quality product by doing it at night only. South Cantilever is closed to all users. We're putting on a bus service and minibuses in order to get members of the public on foot and pedestrians across. That's a scheduled minibus service, and then people can find out information on our website about that with a detailed timetable and locations of pick-up and drop-off points. This project had already been postponed for about 2 years because of other works that had to take priority. So we're already late in doing it. The existing surfacing is already showing some significant signs of deterioration. We've got some existing cracks, and if you don't do it now, there's a higher chance that the steel deck will corrode and we'll get cracks in that deck, and that'll mean we have to repair those cracks in the steel before we can put the new surfacing material down. So it's really critical that the work is done now.